Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our August 28th Weston County School District #1 board meeting. If you would rise and join me for the pledge. And Haley, would you lead us in the pledge tonight, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I'm gonna pop in here real quick and welcome the new face that's sitting up here. That's Haley Beestrom, who's our student representative. So welcome, Haley. Okay, we're gonna go to approval of the agenda. And I just have two things. One is in a consent agenda, we'd like to look at all except number Q to start with. We'll pull Q out so that we can discuss it a little bit. And then under discussion items, we'd like to talk about the lunch program and beef donations. And a little bit about the welcome back speaker, Allison Apsey, and what we learned from her. So does anyone have a motion to approve the
amended agenda?
It's been moved and seconded to approve the amended agenda. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Recognitions. Brad.
Madam Chair, just one more time, I'd like to thank Chris French for her donation of the welcome gift to the certified staff that she does every year.
Yes, that's awesome. And I think it means a lot, especially for new teachers. Tyler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I got a few. First thing I would recognize, we have a new student. I won't get into details, but I'll tell you, we got new challenges at the middle school. And I would just give a huge shout out to Susie LaCroix and Aaron Pazinski, along with my new special education teacher, Patricia Miller, who you'll meet next time. But those three ladies stepped up big time before school even started to help us get prepared. And it was just super helpful and went really well. I would recognize Don Stevenson for once again grilling burgers and dogs for the 6th grade and 9th grade jumpstart. And Don was the key, but I also would recognize Chad Austinson. If you saw Chad that day, he was running around working like a madman, and so it was really good for him too. Couple more. I would say this time of year, Grace Coy deserves a shout out because things are a little wild in the business office and teachers are buying things and I've had questions, and Grace has been super helpful. And then if you guys remember, the ESSER grant is coming to a close, thank the good Lord. But so Taylor Borgelli needs just a huge recognition for all the management she's doing with that. It just wouldn't happen without her, so I'd recognize her. And then since I was just waiting for Adam to be here in front of you guys, then I would also, of course, recognize Adam in the maintenance department. I know they're temporarily shorthanded for just a little bit while longer, but those guys are doing a great job. Gary and Todd are doing awesome too, so just give them a shout out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for recognitions? Randy.
First of all, I would ditto what Tyler said about Adam and his crew, and I know Adam hates it and would wish we wouldn't do this, but the school looks great, and I know I can be nagging. He gets calls from me almost every day and he handles them quickly, and I appreciate that. Also a big shout out for Don Williams at the elementary school. We send out a letter to every student telling them who their teachers are, and when we get back to the office, and she stuffed and delivered and put glitter in all of them and sent them out. And so that was fun for the kids to be able to do that. So I appreciate all the extra work she does that people don't know she does behind the scenes. So
That was a great picture of her holding
yes,
that giant.
it was a huge stack.
Anyone else? Billy.
Yeah, I'd also like to thank Adam and Todd and Sean Monday for helping unload the beef. I think we unloaded like 30 boxes of beef, reorganized. Put the older beef towards the front, and so appreciate the help on that one.
So. Anyone else? All right, then, we will move on to visitors' comments. No visitor comments from Zoom? All right. Action items, consent agenda, and that will be, again, A through P and R through U to start with.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the items listed from the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Jason?
Madam Chair, is it possible, and not an exact count, but is there a way we can kind of get a rough idea this year, last year? A kind of a tally of how many homeschool students we have versus the previous years? I'd like to see kind of where we're
So
stacking.
you're asking for a report
Yeah.
on,
If
homeschool
if we could,
students?
yes.
okay? Yeah, because the state law, because we don't approve or disapprove homeschool, we just recognize that people are in fact homeschooling their kids. And that way we know that the law for sending your kids to school or schooling your kids, getting your kids an education is followed, so. Okay, thank you, CeeLo. CeeLo will get us that. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Okay, item Q, and I requested to pull that out myself because the Northeast Wyoming Board of Cooperative Educational Services, BOCES, on their contract has their travel at $1.50 per mile, which feels pretty excessive. And I believe, Angie, did you say we pay 48 cents? 47 cents. And Dina, did you say Weed and Pest is 47 and a half? 67?
Whatever the federal.
Yeah, I know the IRS usually determines the minimum that can be reimbursed, but so we'd like a little clarification on that. This contract is supposed to start on the 21st of August. So my suggestion is that we do whatever the board's pleasure is. If you want to approve this now, if you want to get the information first, it feels like we probably should approve it now. Yeah. So, but I wanted you to all know that we have that question. So, and Jason is on that board and he's gonna.
Yeah,
make
Madam
sure-
Chair, I
Yes.
sent an email to Taylor. And as soon as I hear something back, I'll forward it to you.
The Taylor at BOCES.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. So just wanted you to know that was the question that we will get answered. All right, may I have a motion on that contract, please?
To approve the special education contract with Northeast Wyoming BOCES. I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the special ed contract with new BOCES. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion is carried. There is no there's no old business to come before the board, but we do have some new business. So Brad.
Madam Chair, I would recommend to you Sophia Tidyman for the maintenance position pending the clearance of her background check.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the classified recommendation for Sophia Tiedemann as maintenance pending a background check. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Now it's time for number 4, an executive session under Wyoming statute 16-4-405 IX to discuss a legal update. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to move into executive session under that statute. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We'll move into executive session. All right, we'll call this meeting back to order. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are up to reports. And our first report is going to be from Haley. So turn your microphone on.
Okay.
All right, welcome.
Okay, I'm looking all you guys in the eyes. Basically, I just wanted to come say hi. I'm Haley. My fellow council was gonna come tonight, but unfortunately they had some things come up. So Taylor Conklin is the vice president and then Celine Remore is the secretary. And I'll try and see if they can come next time so you guys can put faces to names. Basically, I just have a couple things to talk about. We had our before the school meeting and that went really good. We had a couple of the newer council members come. So that was exciting to kind of meet them. We played a couple games. And then we talked about a couple things we have in the beginning of the year. We're going to do a joint fundraiser with FBLA and it's a trap shoot fundraiser. I don't really know that much about it yet, so I'm really excited to kind of talk about it with the rest of the council, see what's going on. And then our first meeting is next Tuesday. And so if any of you guys would like to come join, we'd be happy to have you.
When is it and where is it?
It's on Tuesday at 6:30, 6:30. And it's at the library, the high school library. So I have a couple fun games planned because we'll have the full council, so it'll be super fun. But yeah, and then we'll talk about homecoming there because it's actually a lot later this year than last year. So we have quite a bit of time to talk about it and think things over. So that's all.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, Adam.
Just got a couple.
Oh,
I just have a couple quick ones. The project at the elementary school, last time we met, we were waiting on shipping. Shipping got delayed about a week. Now it's supposed to be here tomorrow. The underlayment or whatever they're calling it is supposed to be here tomorrow. The guy doing it thinks he'll be here Saturday, between Saturday and Monday. He's on a job in the middle of South Dakota right now. So as soon as he finishes that up, he was going to stop here, do this one before he went home. The football field, we've cut back on water quite a bit. I turned it off today for the next couple days. We're going to try mowing it Friday afternoon. Next Tuesday, Strands, the guys that laid it, are going to come walk it, feel it, see if we can play football on it. They're pretty optimistic. I don't know enough about it to say it either way, but they're going to look at it and give us a final answer Tuesday. On the way here, I don't know, 5:30, I got a call from the scrubber in the middle school. They brought it up today. Was working good. One of the compressors they got in, brand new compressors, is no good. So right now they're running it off one compressor, and it's doing fine. It's just repetitive, is why there's two of them. But that's all on them. It's under warranty. They're getting a new one coming, but the scrubber's up and running. That's all I have, unless you guys have something for me.
Brad.
Oh, so Monday night, was that Monday night? Everybody knew the windstorm come through. It took a couple shingles that we've replaced off the back of the pool. Took some soffit out of the end of the high school building there. We got a contractor coming to look, see what kind of lift we need, because it's clear up on the upper peak. Took a window out, broke the sash, the part that actually goes in and out, broke the wood in the bottom of the sash, and it was just hanging by the hinges. So we got it all put back in and taped up to seal up, and the same contractor also does our windows. He's gonna look at it and start ordering us a sash. Lost a tree. There was 2 pine trees by that shed in the back of the football field. It ripped one of those out of the ground. We got it up and hauled it out yesterday. Elementary school took it pretty well. Didn't see, I mean, trash cans and garbage and stuff flew everywhere, but we pretty well got all that cleaned up. So yeah, Mother Nature hit us pretty good.
It was wicked. But, all right, Angie. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The ATM is in the high school in that cubby where the payphone is, and it's operational. So just in case you haven't been over there and seen it. Our Pepsi machine, there's a bunch of pop in the fridge and over there for anyone to drink. So if you guys want a pop. But also they talked to us about getting a different machine if there's any products that we would like to have in the machine. So I'm asking the board if there's anything you guys would like in the Pepsi machine before we make the phone call. So if you think of something, just let us know.
It's Diet Coke.
Oh, Pepsi product. So
Sounds like a Saturday Night Live episode, right?
Yeah. It was just something that was brought up last week when they came, so we thought we'd ask.
Cool. All
And
right.
that's all I have.
Does anyone have any questions for Angie? Thank you. Sonia.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We finished up, I mean, the beginning of the year, we've definitely started, so we're in full swing for sure. It was a busy 5 days for the teachers and everybody. There was lots of workshops and sessions going on. One of which was the ride, so we'll hear that. I'm expecting an article in the newspaper probably. We got interviewed this week, Bryce and I did. So our science team, or some of our science team, high school and then one middle school teacher has opted into this project. And so we're just we had one meeting, and so it's learning more about what student-centered learning is. And we'll just do that. We'll meet every single month with the teacher group. And so will be what's called transformational loops. So we'll meet together, learn some stuff, do some planning, go back in the classroom and try it within the next month, and then come back and reflect on it and refine it and learn a little bit more. So we'll continue with that. We did start a subclass to try to recruit some more subs. So we have some people that are signed up. So that's kind of exciting. We'll start that on next Tuesday is when it will kind of get kicked off. So hopefully in the next 4 to 6 weeks, we'll have people finished and can send paperwork to the state to get their sub certificates.
If I'm wrong on any of this, Marty Ertman can sue me. Let her have the burden of doing that right now. If any of what I'm saying is not true, she can sue me and prove that in court. But I had been frustrated by this sort of lack of accountability when the public reacted poorly to a newspaper story about commissioner actions. She would change the story and say that that's not really how it went down. What was I got out of it, and then you started covering that beat. Did that frustration, did you have that same experience leading up to the ultimate frustration of filing the secret ballot lawsuit to put a stop to that sort of thing?
100%. It's hands down the most frustrating situation I've probably ever dealt with through working at the newspaper.
Have people finished and can send paperwork to the state to get their sub certificates. And the last thing would be today, Aaron Pazinski and I hosted the WDE. We had a site visit for our Y-Built grant. So a couple of people from WDE came and visited a little bit with us about kind of requirements and paperwork. And then we went and toured the school. So a huge thank you to all the buildings, the principals and the teachers that just let us wander in and interrupt classrooms all day long. So that was kind of fun to see. So that's all I have, unless you have questions for me.
Jason.
Do we have any more on that virtual school? That I know there were some issues.
So we do have a contract with the Cowboy State Virtual Academy. So that's what we are partnering with. We have some students enrolled, at the middle school and high school level. And so, yeah, we're just kicking that off and seeing how that will go. I think kids are enrolled and principals can talk more about how it works on their end and students getting, logistics and stuff. But yep, so the concerns we had with the contract, that was rectified and we move forward with the signature on it. So, yep, welcome.
Okay. And I don't think we ever told you that at the last WSBA convention, there was a seminar on the student-based learning. And Paige Fenton Hughes was one of the people doing it, and it was really interesting. So
Yeah, I think I think the team is really excited about just the learning of what this could be, and just some opportunities. So I do think it opens some doors for students, student autonomy, student engagement, kind of rethinks what roles of a student is, what a role of a teacher is, kind of how that all works out. So so we'll just be I think a good learning adventure and to hear from the teachers. So
yeah.
and there'll be like a day in December that we'll get together as a whole district, and they're going to share with all of the teachers what they have done so far and just kind of thoughts and what worked, what didn't work, that kind of thing. So when that gets closer, I'll let you know the date. So
Okay,
perfect. Thank
Great.
you.
thank you. Randy.
Hi, so I just have some numbers for you tonight mainly. Summer school, we wrapped up, we did 2 sessions. We did one in June and then we did a jumpstart again in August. We had 23 students participate in the June session and then 25 participate in the August session. And this is just our regular one. Taryn can speak to her numbers for the special ed one, so. Good turnout there. And then as of today, our enrollment is 321. We ended the year with 347, but that's sending 65 kids on to 6th grade, and we have 43 kindergartners. So that's kind of our difference there, but we're off to a great start. Everybody's worked hard and it's like we weren't even gone over this summer. So it's good to be back.
I'm sorry. No.
That's all I have unless you have questions for me. We have 321 right now.
What was it last year? Do you remember?
Well, at this time last year, we started with 338, but we ended with 347. And then 65 students we sent to 6th grade, and we have 43 kindergartners. Okay.
30% smaller class, that's kind of, yeah,
Nice. Right.
yeah.
Right. I think it was the next 3 years.
All right, thank you, Brandy. Bryce?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, it's just so exciting to get kids back in the building. I think we have a great group of students in the building this year. A great group of seniors that have worked really hard to make the culture of the school the culture that they want. I'm really proud of them. And I'm just really looking forward to the school year, working with the kids, working with our staff. Our staff is excited and getting kids ready with all the rules, routines, but really getting them engaged in classes. And so just excited to see where things go this year at the high school. We're at 234 students as of today. Last year, the high school was at 221. Tyler sent us a big class from the middle school. And so our freshman class is in the 70s. I think we've settled at 74 after kids in and out. And that's, we've been graduating classes like 50 the last few years and even 48. And so the high school feels more full because it is. And so some class sizes and core classes are bigger in that freshman level. But I think it's a good thing in English class and math class. It really generates those discussions when you have those larger groups, just because it creates more opportunities for kids to talk to each other. As far as like students in and out, I think we're down 3, just like kids that moved in as to kids that moved out of district. I think the number was like 9 and 6.
And so we stayed generally pretty stable in that way. This week, Kim Konzelman's finishing up EWC enrollment for those classes. A couple things have changed in the EWC world in this last year. The college board has changed how they accept CTE courses at the college level and how they transfer. So they don't transfer the same as they used to as general elective credits. And so that's not a good thing for our district. It's made some kids adjust their plans if they're working towards associate's degrees. Kids have had to take a few more online classes. So it wasn't a positive change for our program, but Kim's working with the kids to put them on the best track to move forward. The sad thing about it is the kids that were already in the program, since they're not truly college students, they weren't grandfathered in. And so if they took a, college course, computer apps as a freshman, that no longer counts. And so kind of an unfair
That's
thing
not
to those
good.
kids, and it's unfortunate. But they're being resilient, working hard, so I'm proud of them for doing that. And Kim's doing the best to communicate things as that information came in, but it's changed. It's out of our control, unfortunately. EWC is also having an audit of their own, and so they've changed some of the rules of requirements for our teachers. So we also lost a class that way, based on the teacher's masters not being specifically tied to that course. Something that we had been approved for before, we're no longer approved for. So just so you're aware of that, if you hear around the community that EWC has changed and things for our students, and I mean, it has, it's really just out of our control and we're doing our best. Other than that, if you have questions for me.
All right, thank you, Brett.
Thank you.
Tyler.
Thank you. Yeah, I kind of said it in the recognition, and I would echo what Bryce said and everybody. It's exciting to have kids back. We've got a couple unique challenges that I haven't seen yet in my time, but we're learning and we're growing and we're getting help from people that have better information than I do. And I'm just really proud of the teachers and staff, and the students as well. Numbers game, you kind of heard it. So I sent a large group, but I got a large group. So we're pretty much right at 190. Which is where we were last year, up and down throughout the year, but that's about right where we've been. I did look at it a little bit this way too, and because Jason kind of alluded to this, but so we had 8 students transfer in, that joined us this year, especially in the 6th grade. We actually had 7 students transfer out, but 6 of those 7, they moved, they went to different communities, in this state or elsewhere. We did have 1 of those 7 transfer outs go to the Wyoming Virtual Academy out of Lusk. And then we did have what I would say is 1 student choose to stay with us to try the Cowboy Virtual Academy that Sonia's talked about. So we're keeping people with us with that new pilot right now, and we're going to see how it goes. And that's been good to communicate with the parents on that, and kind of we'll see how it goes. But to that end, nobody from our records in the middle school have opted to go to homeschool as like a new move, if that makes sense. And I'm betting that's probably what CELO's numbers are going to show you. It's kind of the familiar crew that's just continuing to do that. That's enrollment stuff. Then of course, good old athletics. I would tell you that 59% of our student body is currently in a sport, which is awesome. We know that activities are good for kids and it keeps them busy and it helps. And then with the 6th grade, they're getting to know older kids right away and feeling like they're a part of things. 34 football players. I think the plan right now is those 6th graders to stick with us. I know there was kind of some back and forth with the youth football stuff, but I think we're working on getting extra quarters in time for those guys to get on the field. 58 girls out for volleyball right now. So once again, we have 5 volleyball coaches, and
That's what I heard.
and thank goodness we have a practice gym in the high school that we can borrow every now and then. And thank goodness the scrubber's up and running and it's not 100 degrees in the middle school gym now. But that's pretty busy. And then 20 cross country athletes, about 50-50 boys and girls. I think I've talked about this before, but on the sports end, you're going to hear it. So I just want to make sure you guys have this in your head and your talking points. But the Northeast District has especially made this the stance of, instead of like 8th grade, 7th grade, it's very much like an A, B, C model. So you're going to see more mixed grades competing across our region. And so we're following suit. So you might get some questions on that. And please direct them to Ms. Manders or myself. But at the same time, that's just, we're following suit with what everybody else is doing as far as mixing up teams to try to get, you know, every kid in a good spot where they can compete and grow and get playing time and have some fun. And I think that's it.
Anyone have questions for Tyler? Jason does.
Madam Chair, not for Tyler, but for Bryce. And I know obviously Carrie's not here. How are we? I know there were some concerns with golf, adding golf and effects on football and all that. Do we have any numbers on golf? How's that?
I believe there's 8 boys and 2 girls out for golf. They competed last week in Sundance. The boys can compete as a team because they have, more than 5 golfers, and they took 3rd at that golf tournament.
So then if they don't have 5, do they still get to compete as individuals?
Yep.
So, okay, that's what I thought that's how it worked.
Kind of like cross country where you can still run a state cross country even if you only had 2. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Tyler. I will say, Troy sent us a last minute report, so I'm just gonna read that to you because it wasn't until 5 and he apologizes for that. I want to thank our busing staff for doing a great job during the first week. We have 2 route drivers who are out for the first few weeks of school. And so they have had 2 former drivers filling in. Their mechanic broke his ankle and has been out for the last month, but they expect him back in the next few weeks. And we have 2 new additions to our vehicle fleet, 2 24 Chevy Suburbans for transporting students. And we expect the Type C bus ordered earlier this year from Bluebird to be in before Christmas. So that is all he had at this time. All right, and then do you have a sped report by chance? We don't have a sped report tonight. Okay. Brad.
I do have a big number report for you, and it's not as good. So as we ended the school year, we were at 771 students. We are not there today. We're actually, real numbers are 746, which is a loss of 25. And if you want to put a number to it, that's a negative $375,000. $375,000. Now, remember your snapshot for attendance, I believe, is the 2nd week in October. So sometimes that does change with Labor Day and stuff like that. But overall, the numbers continue to go down. So that's something we'll have to watch when it affects, programming, and of course, which affects staffing. So we'll watch that. I believe, Madam Chair, are we going to talk beef later, right? Okay, good. And then just a quick reminder, Tuesday is the workshop up in Gillette. And with a Monday off for many of us, that's going to be a Monday meeting that usually is forgotten. So if you'd put that on your radar. The other thing that I would tell you that I think we need to keep on our radar is, of course, drivers and activities. But the other thing is now I think we've already moved 2 varsity football games to Saturday venues because of officials. And so that's going to be another thing that we're going to have to really watch. And I think that could affect schedules on a weekly basis. And I also have just a quick update about maybe a solution for looking at using our coaches as drivers, but I can do that under discussion items if you wish, or I can do it now.
You have to do that.
Okay, so here's our dilemma. So 30 years ago, we quit doing this because we had a near miss. We had a coach that was also driving bus. Apparently the gymnasium, the event got pretty tense. They get on a bus, emotions are high, and we went screaming through a red light because the coach was still coaching. However, what we find ourselves in now is with a driver shortage, that if we don't have coaches driving, Teresa can speak to this better than anybody, then the athletes lose out. So then the question comes back to, and I'm going to call it the triple dip, because when I did this 40 years ago, that's what they called it. So as a teacher, you're missing class, so you're on a teacher salary. Then you're also getting paid to be a bus driver. And then when you get to the event, now you're the coach. And I don't know how else we get around that. I suppose the biggest question is going to come from the state, and can you pay a coach, i.e. a driver, without the CDL and those kinds of issues. But for a lot of our individual sports with small teams, they're going to be forced on to Suburbans. Golf is one that comes to mind. And right now we're not paying for that because the club is, but that's still something that you need to keep on your radar as we move on. So, interesting times when it comes to programs and personnel, and in a district that right now we're seeing declining enrollment. So how about any questions for me on that one?
Jason?
Brad, how many of the coaches are certified right now or licensed? Do we know?
I believe the only CDL driver, Robert Munger, comes to mind. Is there anybody else? You're not coaching? I don't know of off the top, I do not know of a coach that currently holds the CDL with a passenger endorsement. And so when I did the bus route up north, I didn't have to have the CDL because I was in the Suburban. But then again, I wasn't being
passenger,
paid.
14, 16.
16.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
And so when I did the bus route up north, I didn't have to have the CDL because I was in the Suburban. But then again, I wasn't being
passenger,
paid.
14, 16.
16.
That's the threshold of when you have to get the CDL.
16.
I mean, so I'm guessing like our golf team, our swim team. Yeah.
Well, and
Those are your top-
and the issue is the scary part is, when you lose a bus, but you lost everybody. But when you have one Suburban that got through the gate because it wasn't down yet, but the other one waited for somebody to go potty, and they're on the other side of the gate, that's where it gets to be really interesting and trying to communicate. Although with these things, it has made it much easier for students. But for the overall safety, it's a little mind-boggling at times. And we're not getting any closer in Wyoming, so you're going to travel. That's all there is to it. So
I'd say if it's a situation where we're sending 2 or 3 Suburbans, they're just gonna have to all pretty much stay together. If the weather's bad and they're worried about roads closing.
well,
I will tell you, when they close the road in Wyoming, it should be closed.
and truly, so we've always basically said it's up to the driver. If the driver is not comfortable and feels they're putting students at risk, we stay. We'll figure out the money later, and I know that's not what business managers want to hear. But we've always said we'd much rather, have to pay for some hotel rooms than assemble in the auditorium for the decision that wasn't made right. And so at any given time, the driver has that right to say, I'm not comfortable and it doesn't feel right and we're staying in Lusk.
Paul,
There's those of us that have volunteered to drive to different events. And I think if we just put the call out that we're serious about using volunteers, you might be surprised how many others volunteer as well. This community has always risen to any challenge it's been given, always.
Thank you. Yes.
and we have to remember, we can't do that last minute either. Because they need a background check before. I know, but there'll be some.
No, and I think Paul's absolutely right. I think there has been some frustration with, I only want to do X. I don't want to do all of the events, but my God, I'm going to take girls basketball because my daughter plays good girls basketball and that's what I want to do. The problem is right now, we have some small groups that I don't know if people are as willing to go to those or what it is or the interest, but yeah, we may have to put out a filler for sure, because if not, people are going to stay home, and swimming does probably have, I would say they travel more miles than anybody because everything is Douglas, Buffalo, then you got to go to Worland, nearby Cody. Mhm.
John,
How close do they watch the hours for drivers? Cause if your driver gets 12 hours, he's got to shut down, reset. So if you do 5 volunteers and they're supposed to be e-logging and all that stuff, and they worked from 6 o'clock in the morning, jumping a bus at 3, they don't get home until midnight. There's somewhere where they're going to have to shut down to reset.
Right. So I think to answer that, sometimes we take like a driver and the driver will stay at a destination in a hotel and then sleep during the day. So the other driver gets the students there, then they stay in the hotel room, and then the fresh driver steps in when that happens. But I think they have to watch that really, really careful with student travel. And sometimes we actually have taken 2 drivers. Yeah, so.
Another thing too, has the school ever been like DOT audited for bus driving?
We're audited for everything else. I can't imagine we haven't been.
I know, but I mean,
I don't know what one looks like.
WDAE has to make sure that gets done.
I would say with the mileage and everything that has to be submitted, that somebody oversees that fairly closely.
you will know if they have a DOT audit. Okay.
Thank you. I can hardly wait
Jason,
for
you had
that.
a question?
Madam Chair, I guess I would recommend us putting out a letter and getting an on-call list so we can get those people fingerprinted and all of that now versus, like you said, when the need arises, we already have that call put out. They've already been fingerprinted. They've already been vetted. And now we can just go down the list and just, hey, are you available? Can you do it? So.
And how much does a full background check cost, Angie?
$5 for the fingerprints, $39 for the background check,
Okay.
so $44.
Okay. I was thinking if it was $250 a piece, we didn't want to line up 50 people that we may or may not use and spend all that, but.
Trust me, when it comes to driving, we might need that many on a certain occasion. Because, the thing is it's just not what we deem as sports activities. It's i.e. field trips and it's FBLA, FCCLA and all. When it sort of hits,
Student council.
when you look at that schedule, it's uncanny how we continue to put things on top of each other. And then students, a lot of times will go from one event to another event to another event. So. And then if we had enough, it might help us with our Osage bus issue.
We would have to do a driving record check too, I would imagine, and just let them drive.
Paul,
When I did that took Amanda all of 10 or 15 minutes. So I mean, that is easy. At least it was for me.
Was there a cost?
No.
Okay. Tina,
And then are they covered under our insurance, like as like volunteers? How does that work?
I would have to get with our insurance and ask on that part, because I don't know.
yeah, I was gonna say, I think we need a little bit of research before we put out a public call, but I think if you guys would get us that information and maybe have a draft letter, we could vote on that next week since there will be some expense.
I guess we could ask Troy and get with whoever to kind of give us a number of roughly 5, 10. So like you said, we're not getting, at least we can put out, we need 10 people as a backup. So.
Paul,
I mean, it's like with anything else. I don't think we've ever had people not give in the community. That's more obvious now than I've ever seen it. I mean, if somebody told me, give me $60 to run your background check, whether I use it or not, I'll do it just to have it done. So, I mean, I don't think, my personal opinion is I'm not worried about the cost to the district. I know that there's got to be me and at least 5 or 6 other people that are willing to pony up $60 to help the kids. I know there is. We probably will have a flood of them. So he'll have to worry about fingerprinting a lot of people and we'll just not worry about it. But that's my take on it. Cause in the greater scheme of things these days, $60 is nothing. So.
I would like for us to be able to pay for, and that expense is not outrageous to me at all. I just had no idea if it was in the hundreds or less, so. So if you guys would do that, and we can put that on the agenda next time, Tina?
And I think maybe you could run it like our substitute teachers, like you kind of run them through like, hey, here's the rules and regs and you can do this, but you can't do that. And, I mean, just to, so that
An
they,
orientation. I agree. All right. Let's see, who's next? Dana, do you have a report from EWC? Nope. Jason?
We did not have enough for a quorum, so it's
Oh,
been postponed. Somebody
Summer.
was in Kansas City. So.
Summer meetings. Oh. I know who that was. Okay. And WEPT will be meeting in Douglas next month. We're all gonna just go early and come back the same day, and Douglas is hosting it, so I don't have an agenda yet for that, but I will let you know when I do. All right. So discussion, new future agenda items. So all of our new staff will be here on September 11th. Awesome. Looking forward to meeting them. Does anyone have any other future agenda items? There are a couple we'll talk about in discussion, so we'll sort of combine future agenda items in our discussion tonight. No other future agenda items other than the possibility of volunteer drivers. All right, we wanted to talk a little bit tonight about the lunch program. And Billy, would you lead that for us, please?
Yeah, I was wondering maybe, Brad, if we could get Denise to come in, maybe not the next meeting, but the end of September. Try to get a list of questions to her ahead of time, and if she can just give us like a brief outline or whatever on the lunch program of what they can do, can't do. A rumor mill's going around that they can't serve ketchup and ranch and they can't have seconds.
Like the nutritional guidelines.
Yeah, the nutrition package, and then if we can just get a rough idea of like how many kids we're feeding a day. And I'll get them questions and I'll just email them to CeeLo or whatever. But if you, as a board, if you guys have any questions you'd like to see, get to me and I will get them to her.
I think what we're thinking about at this point is really delving into how can we transition into doing our own meal program like that.
Away from the federal lunch program.
And so a lot of the questions would be things like right now, where do the fruits and vegetables come from? And so that would be part of it, about how much of our stuff is through the commodity program, things like that. And then we were talking too about either seeing if some of the less folks would come up here, or maybe we could go down there and take Denise with us and really drill down on the particulars of how they made that transition, how much it is costing
done
them
that.
per student, all those kinds of things. So we've talked about it before, but we've never really dove deep into it. And I think the community is really ready to look at doing that, making that transition. So that would be a sort of longer term project for us to get into for probably not spring, but probably next year. But if we start now, then we should be able to have all our questions answered and figure out exactly what we can do and what we can't. So, Jason.
So we tried this a couple of years ago, but Casey and the gang down there, Douglas and all them, they are more than willing to come up, give us all their contact information, give us their layouts, give us all the paperwork that we need to start the process. They said no sense of us inventing the wheel. We just need to get a hold of them and they will come here. They'll do, Zoom, whatever we need to do, but they have said over the years, they are willing to do whatever to help us get us the information or whatever it is that we need.
Have they completely got away from the government funding?
Yes.
Okay, I thought they were still doing both.
Yeah, and I would still like,
So commerce too.
I would still like to have Denise tell us where she's at, and Billy's gonna have a list of questions.
And they did say they would have their Denise
Right.
come up here and show her and walk her through everything
Yeah.
that she needs to do as well. So
So I just want us to all be comfortable. Our business manager, everybody, with any questions we have and get all the information we can and also make it less stressful for Denise, for our food service folks. Bill.
And also last year, didn't she have some troubles with getting commodities too? I mean, the availability.
How reliable commodities are.
Yeah, so I mean,
I don't, I know enough about it to be really dangerous. But on that topic, if you don't mind, I had a request from Totes for Hope to take one of the beef to Laramie to have it processed into jerky, because if it's jerky, then Totes can use that. It still goes to students. I don't think we're messing with our donors. It's just a different, they don't need hamburger in the bag, they need jerky. And Eileen Vickers caught me last week sometime to ask that question.
are
So
they USDA certified?
Laramie is, I think, aren't they?
I'm assuming I'm going to say, yeah, it's out of Laramie. It's a group out of Laramie and they do it for other, totes
They're fairly
programs.
new. Wyoming Public Television did a whole show about that. I assume,
Yeah.
because I think it's the only processing plant in Laramie.
So I guess my question for her, Brad, was would they have someone that would volunteer to take the beef down to Laramie, or would we have to take that?
So that's part B. If the board's okay with A, then we'll do the problem solving as far as, who, what, where, when, and all that other stuff.
Because after being in that cooler room, I don't even know if we would really need to take a beef if we could take ground hamburger to them. that might be easier to transport. I mean, I know Sean donated 8 or 9 last year, and I'm sure you'd be willing to let them have some of that. The next bunch coming up is a bunch of bowls, and I don't think they want to volunteer to take a bowl probably down to Laramie. So if they can take the ground yeah, if they can take the ground hamburger, I mean,
I don't know.
Okay.
But if you're okay with the first, then I'll get a hold of Eileen tomorrow and we'll work out the detail.
Yeah, do we need to vote on that, or do we?
I just was under discussion item
Okay.
just
Yeah,
because
we can do-
it still serves students. I just didn't want to give the perception that we weren't
Yeah,
using the allocations or.
I thought maybe the ground beef might be easier for them to transport. They wouldn't have to get a trailer, and I mean, we have plenty of it by looking in there. We could just get some that Sean donated.
I'll ask. I don't know.
Okay.
So we'll follow up on that at the next meeting too. So we'll put that under totes. Sean? Oh, Tina, sorry.
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.
It's more of a recognition, but on the same topic, Billy, I don't think you give yourself enough credit for this. I want to thank you for putting so much time and effort into this. And honestly, we wouldn't have it if you didn't really spearhead it. Because to be honest with you, I just didn't think it was sustainable. So, I mean, kudos to you for knowing and realizing that. I mean, I know our community is very great. They're giving for everything that we do, but that's just a long-term thing, and it's an expensive long-term thing. So I appreciate you taking the time and effort and all of that you've put into that program.
Good job.
Yeah, I think if we get those 8 that Sean, I think it was 26 beef in 2 years that they've had donated to us. So
Yeah, that's amazing. So thank you too. And everybody involved. Sean, what would you like to ask?
So if we do this program, we're gonna get away with the 550, 650 calories per student. Only one wrestler takes, I'm not going down that road.
Position away from.
So Jason, correct me on this, but my understanding is if you walk away from the federal program, you walk away from the federal guidelines as well.
Absolutely. Okay, because I was just thinking, and those 3 up there could probably tell us the best. For kids, the best for kids is the lunch, because some of them don't get the breakfast and some of them don't get the supper. So if we could hand out more to them while they're at school. I mean, I'm doing some research on how active kids are and what they burn. 48-year-olds, 16 to 1,800 calories. Anywhere from 9 to 13 years old, they burn anywhere from 1,800 to 2,200 calories. I don't know why girls are higher, but I think they grow faster than boys. They mature a little bit. But anyway, the girls they need more calories. so anyway, I mean, and also too with all the meat, because we had quite a bit left over. Maybe there's something we could do with it after school. Prepare something for them. I'm just an idea, so they can take something home for them too. I'm just thinking what's best for the kids. So I do know that there's some out there that struggle, and there's some that you wouldn't know, you wouldn't think that they wouldn't be struggling, but they're some of the most ones that do. So I'm just saying. So
Brad is right. That's, that is the big thing. And I know the board has talked about that over the last few years is if we walk away, we walk away.
Mhm.
So that's, that's,
Mm-mm.
so.
I think what we're doing with the beef is the closest we can get without walking away.
Some of these other districts, keep in mind, they're getting ham, they're getting sheep, they're getting the whole gamut from all their ranchers and farmers. So again, if we're just looking at beef, what about, like you said, the vegetables and all that? That's just something we need to really pull everybody in and make sure we got our T's crossed and our I's dotted. So.
Sean,
I was just talking to another board member today kind of about that, how they do it from Lusk, and they said when they did it and they pulled away from it, they had to figure out kind of what funds they were gonna pull some from, a little from the general fund, a little from here, or whatever fund that they did. So bringing Lusk in, I agree with you guys. I mean, they've been doing it for, I don't know how many years, but it seems like they kind of got it
they
figured
were
out.
one of the early ones.
At least 10 years.
So there's ways of making it happen, so.
Yeah, I think Les might have started in 2012 or 2013. So I think I was still on the state board then. Dana,
Just out of curiosity, do we know their enrollment numbers?
they're smaller than us, but Douglas isn't.
That is the other
Bigger.
side of that coin too, is we got to look at population versus
And
these other district populations.
and that's one of the questions we'll ask some of the other districts that are doing it. What is your average cost per student? And if one, how many students are you feeding? And we'll get them numbers, how many students we're feeding, what it roughly would cost us. And so, and then we'd have to look and see, when we're talking about federal money, how much federal money we're gonna lose. So we're gonna have to offset that money somewhere.
And that's a good thing with Casey and them. Like I said, they'll be able to tell us roughly, we need this many beefs for these amount of students. So that even just based off of their numbers gives us an idea of, well, we need this much, that much more. So like I said, all the legwork has already been done. We just got to input our figures and kind of go from there to see, again, if long-term, if this is sustainable enough for our size of district.
And I would say since Commerce County is doing it, they're bigger than us. Narborough is smaller. So we should be able to.
Commerce County too.
I thought Douglas was gonna do it too. Maybe not.
Is Sheridan doing it?
Sheridan 1 might be. I'm not sure. Bighorn and Tongue River and Manchester, but anyway. All right, so that's gonna be kind of our big project for us to do going forward. Any other questions on that one? Okay, and I just wanted to say that I really enjoyed the welcome back the first day, and God love everybody for standing up and dancing to James Brown with me first thing in the morning. I really appreciated that, and it was really fun. We had the big yow scream and laughed at each other, and that was awesome. So I appreciated that. And I really enjoyed the speaker that day, Allison Absey. She was very, very good. There were a lot of things to take away from that, but one that I would like us to look at was she had surveys throughout her talk where people were able to vote or put words in from their phones. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was so then there was a word cloud, and the word cloud shows you the most popular used words around. And I have a picture of it here, and I will share that with you guys. But I guess I would like to see if maybe we could task the board with coming up with some ideas and the leadership team, because the biggest words in the question what makes you feel unsafe in your job? Were exclusion, favoritism, lack of support, cliques, retribution, parents, guns, lack of teamwork, anger, ignored. And so to me, that says no one in this word cloud entered the word nothing, that nothing made them feel unsafe in their jobs. So I would really like us all to work together and come up with some ways where we might be able to address these concerns with our staff. I think it's important that we look at the culture that we have and see what we can do. So that would be another long-term thing, but I would really like us to take a serious look at some of those issues and make things as good as we possibly can. So that was that, and I'll make sure everybody gets a copy of this picture. But yeah, I thought it was a really good welcome back. I think she was also very uplifting. And just enjoyed her a lot. And I've been following her on Facebook. So again, it's Allison, ALLYSONAPSEY. She has a lot of interesting articles and stuff posted on her page. I've been scrolling back through and reading some of her stuff. So it was really good morning for me, and I didn't get to stay the whole time, but it was very good. So that being said, does anybody else have questions? Jason?
Madam Chair, just a quick one. I don't know if we need to get a head count for Gillette, whether we need to take a vehicle or how we're going to do that. So we're not doing it at the last minute.
Right. I'm gonna spend the whole day with my goddaughter, so. It's at 6, right? I think 5:30. 5:30 is probably food and, yeah. Right, 5:30. So who's going? Paul, Sean, Dana?
I'll drive myself because I'll go home.
Oh, yeah.
He's, I think, one, if the carpool.
How many want to leave from the district office? And I'll just have a Suburban here. Because the mystery van has been sold.
The mystery van.
But I think according to the report, we have some new Suburbans, so.
Yes, it says there's 2.
You love that thing.
It was a tough separation. We'll get through it.
The mystery van. Okay, is anybody riding in a mystery van or in a Suburban with? So apparently no one needs one. Okay. All right. Thank you for asking though. Or you asked, thanks for asking. She registered us. She keeps us online. All right. Sean has one more thing. It's only.
All right, Brad. Update. Have you heard anything from the chief of police?
Oh.
So we've been directed to work with that name. I don't believe at this time there'll be any dog presence per se. And again, we never knew about those in the first place. But as far as police presence, in the hallway, parking lot and that, that's about the same. We just don't have a school resource officer by name, but by contact, everyone knows who to reach out to in those cases.
Okay, so my next question on that is, are we still paying 20,000 for an SRO.
Not to turn me into the IRS, but the business manager has told me we didn't pay last year.
We have not received an invoice.
Yeah.
So, no.
Okay. Okay, and I just the update that I know is that they are gonna sell the dog. So
That was the email in which I received,
Yeah,
yes,
that's
that
what
the
I-
dog was going elsewhere. Although there's still going to be a dog that would be available,
Yeah.
just not that dog. And again, I don't know exactly where they all come from, whether that would be, highway patrolmen, if they take a dog out of Sundance. Years ago, we used to get them out of Rapid, but I don't think that's happened for quite a while, but, we've always told them, none of us need to know. We need to know in advance to get the kids into a safe place so that, not intermingling dog and children. But after that, they call and we go into a lockdown and the rest is theirs, whether it be the parking lot or the school.
Thank you.
But as
Any-
far as an update, I don't have one.
Anything else? I'm gonna call this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Rec board. Oh. Sorry, my computer died, so I just got one Friday. I'm in the process, and Mike could probably attest to this, training a new scheduling system, and I'm excited because I think everybody will have access to the calendar. Instead of bugging me every day, is it available? Is it available? They'll get on it. If they try, they'll submit their request. If they don't have the proper paperwork, I won't approve it. And then Diana has the final approval to make sure there's nothing with high school, because we were having some problems with calendars, people looking at the wrong calendars. So I'm really looking forward to that. Also, we are full, already November to March in our practice gym. Trying to work out some battles. And, so when we approved it, I don't know how long ago, the practice gym was to be used for soccer only. I did have a request to see if we could use the middle school gym, and I talked to Adam. And
and Mr. LaCroix. And I think the issue is still battering the walls. So, right now I have to turn people down and will probably make people mad just to let everybody know.
Refresh my memory. We're gonna have to vote pretty soon on the honor camp using the weight room. Was that 90 days we give them?
No, I think we talked about it at the last minute for a year, I think.
I was gone.
Yep. I think that it was a year. And it's going really well. I have had no complaints. I've had patrons go in early. And actually one of the I'm really having a hard time with that 3:45 to 6 shift because of sports for people to work, and he's picked up some shifts, so that's helped me a lot. I have people in the pipeline, but when you have to wait for background checks, it takes a little longer. I lost a guy that was my go-to, so.
With that early morning, are we seeing numbers other than the honor camp or more
Yeah.
people using it?
Yeah, and I sent him out the last meeting. Yeah. And yeah, there's probably the 3 to 4 honor camp, and then there's usually 4 more coming in before 5. Does anybody have any questions for me?